Hello there, very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this edition of Primetime News on MTV Sports and Shakti TV. I'm Joel Out.
And I'm Hizrina Hizbi.
Well, 99 days have lapsed since the election of President Maithripala Sirisena.
Tomorrow at 9 p.m. the President will address the nation via electronic media. How has the day progressed?
But first, let's start off with a look at the headlines.
President to address the nation tomorrow. Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa arrested. Sections that do not comply with the Supreme Court determination have been included in the 19th Amendment, an accusation from the opposition. Two arrested on suspicion with regard to the death of a woman at a school in Colombo 4.
On to our top story this evening. Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa has been arrested by the Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division and is due to be produced before the Kaduala magistrate. This was confirmed to Newsfirst by the former minister's lawyer, U.R. De Silva.
The recording of a statement with regard to alleged financial irregularities that took place at the Divinaguma department commenced this morning. Attorney at law U.R. De Silva stated that in addition to former Minister Basil Rajapaksa, two others are also due to be produced before the Kaduala magistrate. De Silva further added that the B report is being compiled by the police and the former minister will be produced before the Kaduala magistrate subsequently.
Newsfirst exclusive contacted U.R. De Silva, the attorney representing MP Basil Rajapaksa, a short while ago. This is what he had to say.
He has given the statement from 11 o'clock to around 5:30. At that stage only, they have informed that they are going to arrest him. From that point, he was under arrest, and then thereafter, they had informed him that he will be produced under Public Property Act on the basis that there was some misappropriation with regard to monies that were used to give, to renovate their houses for the poor people in the special project. So the amount, so far, they have not yet informed us. When we see the B report only, we would be able to find out the exact amount. The minister has totally denied this and he has not taken, with regard to transactions, any participation, and he has given only the instructions and necessary policy decisions were taken, and this was an ongoing project where they are giving some money to the poor people to renovate their houses. That is the position of the minister, and the minister is responsible to the parliament, not to the police. His position is that. But the police had not accepted his position, and they alleged that he is involved in this fraud.
Newsfirst Stephanie Lazarus is at the Financial Crimes Investigation Division and joins us now with the latest there.
Well, I'm currently standing by the Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division with a large number of media personalities standing by, and news has come to light that the former Minister of Economic Development will be taken to the Kaduala magistrate thereafter. That's all the news we've got for you right now, but we will have more information on that later on. Back to you.
Now, Krishan Devasgai is standing by at the Kaduala Magistrates Court. Let's cross over to him to find out what's happening there.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa is due to be produced before the Kaduala Magistrates Court shortly. Now, the Newsfirst team has been here at the location of the Kaduala Magistrates Court since we learned of the news that the former minister was arrested by the Financial Crimes Investigation Division after being questioned for several hours since morning today for financial irregularities that are alleged to have taken place at the Divinaguma department. Now, here at the Kaduala Magistrates Court, a number of opposition MPs as well as provincial councillors are present, awaiting the arrival of the former minister at the court. Stay tuned to Newsfirst as we bring you the latest developments that are taking place here at the Kaduala Magistrates Court. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Krishan Devasagaya.
The opposition claims that new amendments to the bill on the 19th Amendment to the Constitution contain points that are not in line with the determination of the Supreme Court. The government, meanwhile, states that all sections of the bill which the Supreme Court determined would require a referendum have been removed the bill.
Everything must be done in line with the guidance of the Supreme Court. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party will not allow for anything that violated the Supreme Court determination to be snuck into the bill and for it to be passed unconstitutionally. The amendments contained points that were removed from the first draft and which confer more and more power on the Prime Minister while rendering the President inactive. At the party leaders' meeting, we requested that we will be given the final draft with the new amendments in all three languages. They are yet to be provided in Sinhala and Tamil languages. When the President called on the Prime Minister and the Leader of the House, it was then that the UMP was forced to withdraw all of this and take it up for a debate next Monday and Tuesday instead.
Some may argue that these amendments are very good. But by trying over and over again to include it, what happens is that the people are unaware. The opinion of the Supreme Court is not being sought. It is only happening on the approval of Parliament and the Attorney General. Let us do what we agreed on and what was ordered by the Supreme Court. Refrain from including any new sections. There is no use to allow space for constitutional anarchists in this society.
We have presented the 19th Amendment and all amendments to all members of Parliament, the opposition leader and the party leaders for the decisions to be made. There is nothing in this bill that would require referendum to be passed. They are yet to point out any such section, and if they are able to do so, we will withdraw it.
What we accept as the 19th Amendment is the amendment that was approved by Cabinet and the one from which all sections which the Supreme Court determined would require a referendum have been removed. Providing support to this 19th Amendment is our stance. We will not agree with any subsequent amendments to the bill.
Do not go beyond the word of the Supreme Court. Do not cause trouble. We must be happy with what we get from this rather than what has been deprived. There may be shortcomings. We have been unable to completely abolish the executive, but we must happily accept what has been given. We were able to secure this at least as the result of a long struggle. I call on those putting it forward too. Do not cause trouble. Do not include new amendments. We request that the amendment be presented to Parliament in line with the court order.
Various conspiracies are afoot today to intentionally delay and prevent this amendment from being introduced. Those who were involved with the former Rajapaksa regime are intervening from the stance that they will not allow any bill to pass. Another group wants to push this back. The way we see it, both these endeavors are wrong. What is apparent is that there is a want for political power here. While falsely saying that they are in favor of the 19th Amendment, they are conspiring to prevent the 19th Amendment.
According to information we have received, the Prime Minister has tried to include new amendments. He has tried to bring in amendments that restrict the President in making appointments to the Cabinet and is deciding on the portfolios and removal of ministers. If a government that is only governed by the Prime Minister is brought in at this moment, it will be the corrupt politicians that will take advantage of it. In addition, corrupt leaders like Mahinda Rajapaksa may take advantage of the opportunity to return to power. Thereby we are against it. They are trying to render the President totally inactive.
If the 19th Amendment is not adopted by Tuesday evening, then this current government cannot continue. Since the fundamental goals are not being achieved by this government, the President will have to dissolve this Parliament on Tuesday night.
The 19th Amendment can be adopted, and after it is adopted, it is the President who has the power to dissolve Parliament. The President must hold on the dissolution of Parliament until electoral reforms are adopted as well.
Now, the Catholic Bishops' Conference in Sri Lanka has also adopted a stance on the proposed 19th Amendment to the Constitution. They say the 19th Amendment is a step in the right direction in the effort of Mother Lanka as it attempts to curtail the unlimited powers of the executive presidency and to ensure that democratic structures for good governance are established.
Issuing a statement bearing the signatures of the Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, and the Secretary General, Right Reverend Dr. Valence Mendes, the Catholic Bishops' Conference says the establishment of the Constitutional Council and other independent commissions is imperative. Furthermore, they note that the repeal of the 18th Amendment will pave the way to strengthen the independence of the judiciary and uphold the principles of law. The Catholic Bishops' Conference urges all parties to set aside their ideological differences in the greater interest of the nation and approve the constitutional reforms introduced by the 19th Amendment. However, the statement reads further that if there is any clause that has to be placed before the people at a referendum, as recommended by the Supreme Court, this procedure should be followed.
President Maithripala Sirisena is to make a special announcement tomorrow. A communique issued by the President's Media Division says that the President's address will be broadcast via all electronic media at 9 p.m. tomorrow.
Two groups of parliamentarians from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party are in talks to facilitate a discussion between President Sirisena and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. State Minister Dilan Pereira says that all preparations are being made for the discussion.
SLFP MPs Dilan Pereira, Mahinda Amaravira, Piyasena Gamage, TV Ekanayaka, Kumar Welgama, Mahinda Nanda Alutgamage and several others are in talks to facilitate the meet.
මේ ප්‍රවණතාවේ වැඩපිළිවෙලක් විදිහට ඊයේ වර්තමාන ජනාධිපති අතිගරු
To move forward with this present trend, we have reached a decision with President Maithripala Sirisena. We need to come into a joint discussion to decide on what the future task will be between President Maithripala Sirisena and Mahinda Rajapaksa. Both have given their consent to participate in this discussion.
ඉතා ඉක්මනින් යොදා ගන්න දැන් දෙදෙනාම කැමති වෙලා තිබෙනවා සාකච්ඡාවට ප්‍රවේශ වෙන්න.
මේ වෙනකොට ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ මන්ත්‍රීවරුගේ ඉල්ලීමක් මත
As requested by the MPs of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we will have a discussion between President Maithripala Sirisena and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa this week. Points such as the future of the party and facing the elections with both their efforts will be discussed. All preparations are underway to facilitate the talks.
සියලු කටයුතු දැන් සූදානම් කරමින් පවතිනවා.
ඉතා ඉක්මනින් දිනයක් ලබා දීමට වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිතුමා එකඟ වෙලා තියෙනවා.
The President has agreed to give us a date in the near future. Therefore, this meet will take place. As the two former presidents, the incumbent president will be there, along with the members of the cabinet and the Central Working Committee. There will be no issue. We possess the knowledge and expertise to null any issue that may arise. We hope to bring together all those in the alliance and form a strong alliance for the people and move forward.
In local news, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who visited Puttalam today, commented on his participation in a possible discussion with President Maithripala Sirisena.
SLFP MPs Dilan Pereira, Mahinda Amaravira, Piyasena Gamage, TV Ekanayaka, Kumar Welgama, Mahinda Nanda Alutgamage and several others are in talks to facilitate the meet.
මේ ප්‍රවණතාවේ වැඩපිළිවෙලක් විදිහට ඊයේ වර්තමාන ජනාධිපති අතිගරු
To move forward with this present trend, we have reached a decision with President Maithripala Sirisena. We need to come into a joint discussion to decide on what the future task will be between President Maithripala Sirisena and Mahinda Rajapaksa. Both have given their consent to participate in this discussion.
ඉතා ඉක්මනින් යොදා ගන්න දැන් දෙදෙනාම කැමති වෙලා තිබෙනවා සාකච්ඡාවට ප්‍රවේශ වෙන්න.
මේ වෙනකොට ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ මන්ත්‍රීවරුගේ ඉල්ලීමක් මත
As requested by the MPs of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we will have a discussion between President Maithripala Sirisena and former President Mahinda Rajapaksa this week. Points such as the future of the party and facing the elections with both their efforts will be discussed. All preparations are underway to facilitate the talks.
සියලු කටයුතු දැන් සූදානම් කරමින් පවතිනවා.
ඉතා ඉක්මනින් දිනයක් ලබා දීමට වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිතුමා එකඟ වෙලා තියෙනවා.
The President has agreed to give us a date in the near future. Therefore, this meet will take place. As the two former presidents, the incumbent president will be there, along with the members of the cabinet and the Central Working Committee. There will be no issue. We possess the knowledge and expertise to null any issue that may arise. We hope to bring together all those in the alliance and form a strong alliance for the people and move forward.
සන්දානයේ සියලු දෙනාම එකතු කරගෙන අපි විශාල සන්නානයක් සහිතව අපි ජනතාව ඉදිරියට යාම තමයි අපේ බලාපොරොත්තු.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who visited Puttalam today, commented on his participation in a possible discussion with President Maithripala Sirisena.
There is nothing new in having a discussion with President Maithripala Sirisena. I'm a patron of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. He is the president. There is nothing new in it.
Central Provincial Minister Premitha Bandara Thenakon says that a political change will take place in the near future.
Chandrika Bandaranaike became an icon because of the SLFP. Mahinda Rajapaksa became an icon, a hero, because of SLFP. It was same with President Maithripala Sirisena. If it was not for the SLFP, Mahinda Rajapaksa will be plain Mahinda Rajapaksa. Therefore, it is our responsibility to protect the SLFP, the party that molded us, provided us strength and made us grow. There can be issues within the party members. There can be disappointments. Even we had them. But we will move forward while protecting the SLFP. I state this with trust. We will create a political change in the near future.
Parliamentarian Duminda Silva was summoned to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today. MP Duminda Silva arrived at the Commission this morning. He stated that he was summoned to make declarations on his assets and liabilities.
Also in local news tonight, a group of artists convened a press conference today and demanded that authorities divulge the names of actresses who are alleged to have maintained ties with the infamous drug baron Velesudha.
I challenge anyone who is involved in this. The police have stated that 6 actresses are connected to this. It was given media attention. Don't give us half of the story. Tell us the full story. Absolutely yes. We request the IGP to do so through this press conference.
ඇත්තටම මේ පොලිස්පතිතුමාව සම්බන්ධ කරගන්න උත්සාහ කරා කීපලක් පහසු නැහැ මොකද පහුගිය අවුරුදු කාලේ සහ
We tried to meet with the IGP several times but did not succeed. I think he might have had better things to do during the new year. But I discussed this with the police media spokesperson and another high-ranking police officer about this. They said that they will do their best to make it right. We did not discuss it further.
Media spokesman හරහා ඉතින් ඊට අමතරව අපි සාකච්ඡාවක් පැවැත්වුවේ නැහැ ඇත්තටම.
නිලියන්ගෙන් හෝ නැත්නම් ඔය අවශේෂ චරිත රංගපාපු කවුරුහරි කාන්තාවකින් මේ ප්‍රශ්න කිරීමක් කරන දෙයක් කියලා තොරතුරක්
Police departmentuing
Police are currently conducting investigations into it. As far as we know, they have recorded a statement from one of those individuals unofficially.
Statements එහෙම අරන් තියනවා කියන එක.
ඒ කුඩුගේන දේශපාලඥයෝ මේවෙන් බැහැලා ඉන්නේ අතවනවනා. දැන් මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු
Politicians who bring drugs come waving their hands. Do one of these parliamentarians support Velesudha's arrest or to bring in those politicians involved in it to the courts? Meanwhile, the police media spokesperson highlighted that the police has never said that Velesudha was involved with actresses. He added that investigations are still underway into his transactions and other connections.
Opposition leader Nimal Siripala de Silva says that he will call in Parliament for the immediate removal of the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Speaking at a media briefing held in Colombo today, the opposition leader accused Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe of attempting to acquit the CBSL governor of any wrongdoing.
We are not protecting the rogues. The rogues have been protected by Ranil Wickremesinghe. The president ordered for a commission to be appointed to investigate Arjuna Mahendran. But then Ranil Wickremesinghe appointed a team of investigators comprising of 3 very junior lawyers affiliated to the UMP and is now attempting to whitewash the governor. The report is yet to be tabled in Parliament, but we say that all members of the opposition are calling on His Excellency the President not to accept the report. I also wish to inform you that we will also move in Parliament for the immediate removal of Arjuna Mahendran from that position. I wish to clearly state that we are not protecting the rogues. It is the UMP that are protecting the rogues.
ප්‍රකාශ කරන්නට කැමැතියි.
අපි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මේ වාර්තාව ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න සියලු
We had made all preparations to submit the report in Parliament. 250 copies were made, but we couldn't do it because of the trouble that arose in Parliament. The committee report states that the governor of the central bank was not directly involved in the decision to increase the acceptance of bids from 1 billion to 10 billion rupees. There are 8 members of the tender committee, and it is they who had decided to accept more bids for the bond issue. Nevertheless, they have raised questions regarding the unusual bidding pattern of perpetual treasuries, which has a financial connection to the CBSL governor. Questions have been raised about how perpetual treasuries was able to obtain a loan of billions of rupees from Bank of Ceylon. Thereby, they are of the opinion, and they have recommended that this should be further investigated.
Heading the apex financial body of the country. I mean, the central bank is the commanding height of the country's economy, of the country's macroeconomic policy. The optics aren't right. And when you appoint a committee which does not consist of distinguished former central bank governors, and we have people of that sort, but rather of junior, relatively unknown people who have personal or political affiliations to you, then it's hardly an independent committee that has the credibility to conduct an investigation that will be seen by the public as fair and independent. So the entire decision-making process, the whole attitude was wrong, and Sri Lanka suffered this huge financial loss in the context created by these erroneous command decisions of the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka.
The 78th death anniversary of the late former Minister Reggie Ranatunga was commemorated today.
The commemoration of the late Reggie Ranatunga was held at his memorial in Udugampala, Gampaha. The family and relatives of the late minister paid floral tributes to his memorial. He rendered an immense service to the SLFP. In a country where politicians are filling their own pockets and trying to cover up their crimes, he is a good inspiration to those in the parliament these days. Late Reggie Ranatunga entered politics in 1962 and was elected to parliament in 1989.
Still at home, 2 individuals have been arrested on suspicion in connection to the body that was found at a storage facility at a school in Colombo 4 and have been remanded until the 27th of this month. The police stated that a security guard at the school and a person who is said to have visited her have been taken into custody.
The body of the woman suspected to have been murdered was found in a storage facility at a leading school in Colombo 4. The police state that the arrested individual who had visited the deceased in the school has had a close relationship with her. The police added that the suspects were identified based on the call logs of the deceased.
The second suspect is one who was serving as a security officer on the day of the crime. Information has also come to light that the main suspect has arrived at the school to meet the victim on the day in question. That is the 18th of April.
Meanwhile, the body of the deceased was accepted by the relatives this morning and taken to her house. The body was not accepted by the relatives earlier as an open post-mortem report was issued by the judicial medical officer.
They could have raped her and let her go. We could have begged and survived. They shouldn't have killed her. There are 2 daughters. I don't mind dying. She could have lived for another 10 years and taken care of the children.
Meanwhile, the wife and a relative have been arrested in connection to the murder of an SI with the use of a sharp object in Panadura. SI R.W. Palihawadana, attached to the Bandaragama police, was killed on the 6th of April.
At a time when the prices of vegetables in the domestic market are rising, large stocks of vegetables are being disposed of at the Dambulla Economic Centre. The reason is that there is no proper demand for the crops being produced.
All crops harvested from the North Central Province and the Central Hills, including Nuwara, are being supplied to the Dambulla Economic Centre by farmers. Our correspondent in the area said that over the past few days, large stocks of vegetables that reach the Economic Centre are being disposed of. Farmers point out that on several occasions prior to the Sinhala and Hindu New Year, their harvests were cast aside.
We have to pay tax for each crop we harvest. No one can help us. After we pay off the rest for the transportation, we feel it's better to let the tomatoes die in the trees rather than bringing them here to sell.
Traders say that as farmers are cultivating their crops without proper knowledge on the markets, this situation has arisen. The crops that will fetch higher prices have been harvested across the island. The same will happen in the next year. Then there will be excess stocks in the market. At present, the farmers are not aware of the market situation and are cultivating excess crops, causing this situation. If the authorities do not intervene and provide a solution to this, we will have to have discussions on this matter. Yet, there are those who benefit from this situation. They are these wild beasts residing in the Digampatana Forest Reserve. As there is no proper government program nor government intervention, the Dambulla Municipal Council is bringing in these stocks of vegetables as dinner for these wild elephants. That is what you see behind me.
Pradeep Gunwardana, Newsfirst.lk, Dambulla, Digampatana Pradesh Sita.
Still in local news, an international conference on religious tolerance and harmony was held at the Buddhist and Pali University today.
The conference, which was organized to create awareness on ways to create ethnic harmony in the society, saw the participation of approximately 200 interfaith leaders, representatives of religious organizations, academic and civil society activists. It is a joint initiative of the Buddhist and Pali University and the US Embassy in Sri Lanka. Reverend Dr. Welton Gaddy, a renowned religious harmony advocate from the US, was the keynote speaker.
Spirituality as a way of walking. Not everybody sprinting, trying to outrun each other. Not everybody seeking to be first and everything for the good of their religion. People walking together, taking time to know each other as they walk. I also think that togetherness is essential with you. If you want to walk a short distance, walk alone, and walk fast. If you want to walk together, walk slowly. Reach out your hand.
I would say that in Sri Lanka, exams have been running to perfection. We had bad patterns. But looking back at the history, the unity between the Sinhalese, the Tamils and the Muslims dates back to thousands of years. We have a habit of donating eyes when we are dead to be transplanted to another person. We also have a habit of donating kidneys, quite common in this part of the world. But here, as a human being, I fail to understand why we should fight on religion, why we should fight on race, or why we should fight on caste. Because when you give blood, when you donate eyes, when you donate kidneys, you don't look at one's race, one's religion, or one's caste.
Dozens of speakers from Sri Lanka and countries such as the United States, Thailand, India, Pakistan, Bhutan, Uzbekistan and Indonesia delivered presentations at the conference.
And in some weather news, the Department of Meteorology says that several areas in the country would experience thunder showers throughout the day. The spill gates of several reservoirs were also opened today.
2 spill gates of the new Dadru Oya were opened today. 2 spill gates of the Rajangana Reservoir in Anuradhapura were opened as a result of the heavy downpour. Project manager of the reservoir said that if the water levels of the reservoir continue to rise, the spill gates will be opened further. Meanwhile, 4 spill gates of the Lunagambhir Reservoir in Hambantota were also opened. Heavy downpours in Akurasa, Mathura resulted in the Nilvala River overflowing and inundating many roads in Akurasa and surrounding areas. Our correspondent in the area said that the flood waters in the area are receding. The inclement weather also resulted in the Kakarimbada tank and Hakirama tank in Walasmula breaking their banks. Our correspondent added that as a result of the rising waters, the Thangala Virakatya road was inundated.
Well, with all those local and global headlines, it's time for us to wrap up the news at 9 on TV Sports and Shakti TV. I'm Joel Austin.
And I'm Hizrina Hizbi. Take care and good night.